CTV News at 6 with Joe Perkins.
Good evening. 3 people have been killed in a head-on crash on the Malahat. It happened just before noon today when a Honda crossed the center line in heavy rain, slamming into an oncoming vehicle. The stretch of highway just past the South Shawnigan turnoff was closed for the remainder of the afternoon. In addition to the 3 dead, 2 people were airlifted to hospital in critical condition and several others suffered serious injuries.
Malahat Fire Chief Robert Patterson has responded to more deaths on this highway than he wants to remember. Today's arrived right on his doorstep.
The crash happened approximately 100 meters from my home. Paged out the department from what appeared to be a 3-car MVI with obvious ejection onto the highway. I arrived to find not 3 cars, but 2 cars, 1 car cut in half.
Smith heard the crash before he saw it. He knew what it meant and jumped into action. He says from the time he heard it to the time he had eyes on it was just 10 seconds.
I got there and the front of the car was pretty much under the truck, and the back half of the car was about 20 feet away.
Just before noon today, a small Honda with 5 people inside crossed the center line of the Malahat just past the South Shawnigan turnoff. It slammed into an oncoming pickup truck with 3 people inside.
I would venture to guess that weather played a determining factor in this crash. Speed, most definitely.
The 3 people in the truck, including a child, were taken to hospital. The people in the Honda fared far worse. 2 women were ejected in the crash, thrown onto the highway and killed. A 3rd woman from the Honda was also killed. The 2 others airlifted to hospital in critical condition. People who live on the Malahat and travel it regularly say the tragedy was likely avoidable.
Well, maybe it's the people that drive the highway. Maybe if the people slowed down a bit, followed the speed limit.
My partner just actually made it through just before this, and he had texted me to tell me to be careful on the way through. There was dense fog and huge pools of water.
The highway is closed for hours, with traffic being rerouted through Shawnigan Lake.
Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot.
Media were kept away from the crash. The fire chief says the wreckage is perhaps the worst he's ever seen.
The damage is absolutely complete. But the only thing you can recognize on the car would be the spare tire on the back. Couldn't tell if the seat belt stanchions were ripped loose. We don't know if the seat belts were torn. Couldn't tell you at this point if they were wearing. I've had the privilege of working on this highway for almost a decade and a half now, and I have never seen a car torn in half on this highway.
First responders indicate the 5 people in the Honda were young, but names and ages are being withheld until all of their families have been contacted.